A question that we're asked time and time again, especially with the Q&As, is that can we have a look at some stage of our own collection? Well, you've missed the boat a little bit because A, we've sold quite a lot in recent months, and B, this was, not now, but was full of our own vehicles. There was a row here, I remember, excuse me, XK 150, Aston Martin, TR6, MGA, TR3 and so on, when the museum was actually running. Hopefully, what we've got left, some of that will go back in the museum shortly. But if you want, we'll just have a quick look at 2 or 3 cars that we use ourselves, or I use really, Paul and David actually don't get involved with them, but I use them, and they're vehicles that I like and consider them part of our collection. First one being the Sunbeam. Sunbeam, 1930 Sunbeam. She's about a 16.9. It's a tourer, as you can see. It started life as a saloon, and going by some photos that I've seen, going back many years, it was in a poor state, which is probably why the body was cut off or unbolted and replaced with a tourer like this. A big job in its day, but a brilliant idea because we've now wound up obviously with a 4-seater tourer, which is a lot more desirable and valuable than a 4-door saloon. So I'm very, very pleased that that was done. Few mechanical modifications at the same time, clutch and things like that. So it's really drivable. I like it ever so much. We've used it a lot. We've had it a long time. Firm's car. It's just beautiful to drive. It's on top of the job. It's nippy. It's a powerful engine, 6-cylinder. I'll show you. It's a lovely engine, so she's good for cruising at 45, 50 quite comfortably. There she is. It's, untouched for many, many years, as you can see, but so reliable, really, really reliable. We don't use it in the winter, obviously because of the salt and such like, but when I get it out springtime again, it's away straight away, just off and away. We've not done tremendous miles with it. We take it up to Kirby, Stephen and Brough at Easter, or we have done for the last couple of years, and it's gone down really well up there. I know it's a commercial show, but there's a lot of cars get there as well, so we tend to take it up on the wagon, run it off, and then drive it about while we're up there. So it's just a really, really very usable vintage car, a true vintage car, which, as I say, we all like very much. And then you go from that to perhaps the Bedford up here. I'll show you the Bedford. Well, Zephyr maybe. That's another car that I've been away a few days with a Zephyr, convertible as you can see, power hood, believe it or not, a power electric hydraulic hood, which is amazing really when you think of it in this age. But then again, as I'll show you another car in a minute that's in the auction that has also got a power hood. But these are great. I mean, it's a 2-door convertible, as you can see, a real proper 1950s rock and roll car. On top of the job again, nice powerful 6-cylinder engine, nice interior, lovely interior, and these really, really comfortable. The sort of car that you can really do miles and miles and miles in. I'll show you the engine in a second, but I don't know if you can see in there, it's a bit tight, but it's a really nice comfortable interior. 3-speed column change. A lot of people don't like column change, and I can't understand why, because look at that, shuts like a Golf, surprised me that. They're so relaxing, column change. I don't know what it is, but I don't know, it is relaxing. It's only 3-speed, so first gear is obviously very low, and you do maybe 10 yards, not even 10 yards, 5 or 6 yards in first gear, and straight into second. And being a powerful 6-cylinder, she's away straight away. But there she is, look at that. Lovely old 6-cylinder Ford, 2.5 litre. Big horns on here, look, as you can see. It's lovely, it really is. It's been painted up and restored, I suppose, many years ago. It's not been touched for many, many years. Condition is pretty superb, it's pretty immaculate. Again, a car that I really like using. I like cars. My uncle said to me once, many, many years ago, when I was only maybe 10 or 12-year-old, he said, remember, son, when you get driving, drive the car with the engine. The engine drives the car. You know, don't try and struggle. drive the car with the engine. And I didn't really know what he meant until you drive something like this, or the Sunbeam, which is 6-cylinder, as I say, powerful, on top of the job, and you do actually drive with the engine. You actually use the engine and give it a bit of stick, you know, and it makes so much difference. The whole thing then is so much more pleasant to drive. And then I'll show you just at the end a little Bedford CA, which actually belongs to Charlie and myself. We had a joint venture on this. Put that out of the way. We had a joint venture on the little CA Bedford, which is a little truck, as you can see. Really, really nice condition. I fell in love with it and bought it up in the northwest somewhere quite a long while ago, and rung through to Charlie. He weren't with me as it happens, but I rung through to Charlie and said, look, I'm just buying a little Bedford. Do you want to come in with it with me? So he invested, I think, 500 quid or something like that. So he's got a financial investment and an interest in the Bedford CA. I don't want to sell it. I don't ever want to sell it really, but if it did sell, then obviously we'd split the money up, Charlie and myself. I put the tilt on, made a frame and put the tilt on it. It was just a bare drop side. And I thought, well, it's going to get wringing wet if you're out anywhere. You can't carry anything. So I made the frame and had the canvas made, which I think makes it really, and it makes it a really usable vehicle. And then we had a sad use for it early part of this year. A big friend of mine, Jim Faulkner, passed away. So we took the canopy off and got some of that green, that imitation grass thing, and laid it on, and we put his coffin on, and we took him down to the crematorium in Scarborough, and basically his last ride in the Bedford. And being a Bedford man all his life, he would have loved it. He would have absolutely loved it. And so that was really the last sort of use for it, really. We haven't been out in it far. But hopefully, next springtime, maybe Charlie and I might go up to Kirby, Stephen and Brough, as we've done. We've had that up there at least twice. And it's always well received up there, because it's, as I say, like commercials, built to work and work to death. And that one is a good one. But I'll take you through and see one now that I'm just on with. I've just dragged it out of long-term storage. That's the other car I was talking about. It's a Daimler coming in from Ken Sedman at Moulton, and that's got a power hood. But you can see actually it's identical really, the hood, look, to that Zephyr. You can see metal strip down the middle and all the rest of it. So it's really virtually identical. In fact, it makes you think that could probably fit on that Zephyr. So anyway, that's got a electro-hydraulic hood on that one. Come through, I'll show you. This is I'm going to show you a Jag. Mind the batteries, we're just using it as a bit of winter storage, you know. But the Jag here, I've had 40 years, I would think. Just getting it ready to sell. I'll just turn that radio off while you're having a look. The green XK, I'm going to give you a bit of an example on that. I'll tell you something about that. I'll turn it off for you. There you go. Now that Jag, that XK 150, probably people out there have heard me say, boringly a few times, more than a few times in the past, that if you don't make your mind up that you're going to either buy or not buy a car within seconds or 20 feet away, then you know you've got it wrong. Simple as that. This car here, I bought. Hey, pack up. Sorry. This car here I bought from a place in Wiltshire, Devizes in Wiltshire, many, many years ago. And I went down there. Sue and I went down actually, and in a Scirocco, in her Scirocco, which is a nice fast car to go down and have a look. And I thought, pretty well as usual, I'm going to see a load of rubbish when I got there. And I pulled up outside this house, and there it was in a garage, a little way up the drive and such, a little way off, but there was something about it. As soon as I pulled up, looked up the drive, the garage door was open, and I thought, I'm buying this car. I bought this car. Before I even got out of the car, I'd bought this car in mind. Anyway, cut a long story short, I did buy it there and then, paid the guy for it and drove it back all the way from Devizes to Bedford, which was a fair achievement really, and around the you know, in the rush hour period and all the rest of it and that. And oil pressure was a bit low because the oil was a bit petrol-y, you know, a bit thin. So I took it steady and just drove it back. And first thing I done obviously was check it over and drop the oil and such like. And that's the result. And the sad thing is, and again, people have heard me say this many, many times, don't have too many cars, have enough to use and enjoy. But if you can't actually get them out and enjoy them every month or two, don't have it. Simple as that. Because all they do is deteriorate like this, look. And every panel has blebbed a little bit. And when that car was parked up, it was mint, absolutely lovely. We started doing the engine bay a few weeks before we moved up from Bedford to Yorkshire. So it was more or less stripped out as far as you can see, ready to paint the engine bay and put all the ancillaries back on, and it never got done. So it gets parked up and it sits there all those years, what, 30 odd years? And the result is, like I say, blebs all over the spot, which it shouldn't have done really, but I mean, it was immaculate going in, but there you go, it's just age. I mean, if you were actually using it, wants a new rubber, look, as you're actually using it and enjoyed it, and these blebs come up, you'd be quite pleased, quite happy, because you've had all that fun out of it, but I've had very little fun out of it. So now I've got to prep it up, get it sold. Inside's quite good, look, really, really good. It always has been good inside, really nice in there. I remember when I first bought it, the following, I think I must have bought it on a Friday, because the following morning, Saturday morning, I remember the lads in the workshop and myself were adjusting the driver's door, and there didn't seem to be an awful lot of adjustment on it, and it was catching. And I thought, well, the best way to do this maybe is a bit crude, but put a bit of wood underneath the door and jack it up. And I remember a couple of guys came in, very, very straight-laced guys, and they said, what are you doing? You shouldn't do that on a car like that. Anyway, it worked and the door shuts perfectly now, so that's it. So that's what I'm on with now. I'll go steady at it over the next month or two. I've got to find the ancillaries. I've found some, radiator and bits and pieces. I haven't yet found exhaust manifold or carburetor and manifolds, but I will. I've got all the bits and pieces in the boot. Come have a look quickly, you'll see. I'll just T-cut it up. Look, that's how it went when it went in store, like that, immaculate all over. And this is the result. So I've got some of the stuff to go back on. It's already been painted and what have you, many years ago. So, but I'm short of, as I say, the manifold. I can't find that yet. Can't find the exhaust manifold. Believe it or not, I can't find the back bumper. But somewhere it will be, and I'll get on with it. So that gives you an insight of what I do in the sort of spare time, if you like, part-time. I mean, I might work on this at 7 or 8 o'clock at night or something, you know, have a couple of hours on it before I go home. So that's what we do. It gives you a little insight as to what we do, what we keep, the type of vehicles we got, the type of vehicles we enjoy. Do the same yourself.